This week in our collective heads, wanna put an old rumor to bed. Stereotype that you've all heard, how we're all just angry video game nerds. Most of us have actual jobs, kids and families and cats and dogs, yeah. This week in our collective heads, this week in our collective heads.
About to broadcast on Facebook.
The Facebook,
because we're OG here.
Drop the. Just Facebook.
I agree that the and the Facebook makes you sound like immediately 20 to 30 years older.
Yeah.
Like I liked the Batman movies.
Who doesn't like the Batman? Even though what's funny about that is they always call him the Batman.
Well, sure, I get, yeah, they call him that, but like, I don't know. It just always, to me, it always sounds like I feel like I'm talking to like someone's grandma. It's like, oh,
Sure.
You enjoy the Spider-Man? Yeah, it's never fun. Anyways,
Enjoy the Spider-Man video games on your PlayStation.
my grandma always called it a Sego.
Sego.
Yeah, like when she understood Nintendo, but then when we got like anything other than Nintendo, she couldn't pronounce it.
Well, see, that was the thing, is that it was always everything was Nintendo to the parents. Like
Sure.
your PlayStation, Nintendo.
Yeah.
Your Xbox, the Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean that's how my grandma was. My dad was like, my dad's a geek like us, so like he gets it. And even if he's may not be 100% followed up, but like you mentioned something to him, he's like, yeah, I kind of know what you're talking about. But yeah, my grandma could never get over anything other than Nintendo. So I think you're about right. You're about right.
So you can't see my hat. My hat's festive.
I see the lights now. They weren't twinkling before, but now they're twinkling.
I lowered my chair down.
Oh, okay.
Just so you can get the festive.
Of course, it's wonderful. Welcome to This Week in Our Collective Heads. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen, and we're here talking video game news and all kinds of fun stuff. It's the end of the year. There's a lot to reflect on. A lot of good stuff. A lot of mediocre.
Yeah.
I'd say some crappy stuff too. But I want to, there's a lot of YouTube shows and a lot of podcasts and people that all they do is just trash on really bad games or bad game practices or, developers doing horrible things. And I think we should end the year on a high note. We should try to be a little positive, maybe.
There's only so much talking about Fallout 76 we can
That's
do.
exactly right. I messaged Owen earlier today and was saying, there's not a lot of news. Can we talk about the Fallout rum controversy? Which is, to summarize that, it's $100 bottle of rum that says Nuka Dark, and it's not a glass bottle. It's a plastic casing around a bottle. So the glass, like if you wanted to buy it as a collector's item, maybe to drink it and then have that glass on your shelf or whatever. It's a plastic.
It's not even eco-friendly.
It's not even eco-friendly, and it's something that, let's be honest, it's plastic. We can just 3D print that.
Yeah.
Like you want a glass, not to say it's classy, but like in your shelf of alcohol, and that'd be really cool to have. But unfortunately, it's plastic. So, oh well. But other than that, there's not a lot of news that came out other than more trashing of Bethesda. And
did you get the PlayStation games already?
I didn't go through them. We can go through those though. PlayStation.
That's literally the only news there is.
It's pretty much the only. Yeah. So we got Steep, which is that's the one you're talking about. Flying. It's the wingsuits. What are they? Are they squirrel suits? What are they called? Wingsuits?
Well, I think it's like a winter thing. I think there's like snowboarding and stuff in there, but I could be incorrect. But
I wasn't sure. But it'd be really. Yeah. It's cool if it's like all those things. But yeah.
It looks like a wintry fun time.
Yeah.
Which is why I'll check it out.
Yeah. We also got Portal Knights, which I don't know anything about. I don't know if you know anything. Nope. So
I looked it up. Everything that I looked up got rated between a 65 and a 75. So that tells you, nothing bad, nothing great.
Yeah, it's passable. It's like I can be entertained by this if there's nothing else. It's like background noise on a TV where it's just
when it's free. How much complaining can I do?
I can complain a little bit. We also got Zone of the Enders HD, which is which is supposed to be really good. Did you play Zone of the Enders?
I played the original one. and then I believe they came out with some more after that. I think a 2 or maybe even the 3. Fun stuff. It's a good time.
Yeah, and then we got.
It's too bad that it's not PS4.
Yeah, every time I see one of these that are PS3 or Vita, I'm just like, this is lacking, and I really wish that they would port over to PS4. But
yeah,
Amplitude's one of those as well. Amplitude,
especially when Amplitude's on PS4.
Yeah, that's kind of trash because
Whatever.
A lot of times they give us every version. Where like the Swindle we got on PS4, PS3, and PS Vita, it was just like everything. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't do that, because if someone has a PS3 and can play it, they're not gonna buy it on PS4 if they're already playing it on PS3.
Right.
Fallen Legion, Flames of Rebellion, which actually Kevin played and really enjoyed. I didn't get to play it though, so.
Cross-buy with PS4 and Vita.
Cross-buy with PS4, yeah, so happy about that. And then Super Mutant Alien Assault, which I know nothing about.
Nope.
No, so we'll...
I want to say, isn't this like the last month or pretty close to the last month that they're doing Vita and PS3 support?
I believe... I don't know if it's the last, but I know that's coming to an end. Yeah. I don't know when they're going to end it. And if you have been a subscriber of PlayStation Plus the whole time, you have a huge library to go through of these games. So
a lot of great stuff on PS3.
A lot of great stuff on Vita. And it's usually really cheap too, especially physical stuff is really dirt cheap because it's basically been dead for a year and a half, 2 years. And unless you're in Japan loves their Vita. But I've got a Switch, so I don't need to worry about that.
No. Put everything on Switch.
Everything. Just bring literally everything to Switch. I don't even care if I'm playing Skyrim on Switch right now. Yeah. And yeah, I know it doesn't play as pretty. I know it's not as great. I've got mods. Like I have Skyrim on PC, on Xbox 360. I have it on Switch. I have it on PS4. Like I'll admit it, I'm a junkie for that kind of stuff. But the mods on PC, nothing can beat it. Like yeah, I get it. Nothing beats the mods on PC, but there's something to be said about playing Switch. You know, just casually whenever you're doing whatever on the toilet or whatever you do. It doesn't matter. Like, pick it up, play it. It's cool. Like, I love that flexibility. Yeah. But I've been playing Skyrim and Magic the Gathering. I haven't played a lot other than that this week. What about you?
This week, I'm all about the Monster Boy life.
How is you like Monster Boy? Do you like the Monster Boy? Is that your game?
Is that your game? So, admittedly, I never played the Wonder Boy games as a child because that is what they are harkening back to with those days. But we're talking about a game that has like 40 original tracks and then all hand-drawn art. So, from those two perspectives alone, I've really been enjoying it. I will say I'm kind of a pansy. It's a lot more difficult than I was expecting it to be.
Really?
From the perspective that when you die, like there's save points throughout the game, instead of saving like a Celeste where it's by frame or like where you could do your own manual quick saves whenever you want. Yeah. There are physical spots in the game, and so there are sometimes when you're going through these puzzle platformy experiences and then you die and you have to traverse an entire room again. That gets a little frustrating, but at the same time, like, it's not as bad as old games. Like, I see what they're doing. They're giving you a little taste of the challenge that we used to have as kids, and I have to not break my Joy-Cons when that happens, which I've avoided doing. It's a lot of fun. I think I'm almost through it. I'm looking forward to beating it.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I know I've talked about on the show before, but the kids these days, they just don't know how hard it was for us. Like playing the NES games, playing the SNES games, and taking you're
playing your Contra over there,
like really having to dig in and try to figure out a way to beat something. Which like Cuphead is a great example of that. Cuphead.
I think that's another game that's similar, and I think Cuphead's probably a little harder.
Yeah, Cuphead is ridiculously hard. Like 2 to 3 hits and you're dead. Like that's it. And you start. There's 2 checkpoints per level, but they're really hard to get to. I think it's 1 or 2 checkpoints. They're really hard to get through, and like any hit, there's no way to regain health that I remember. I liked it, but it was ridiculously hard. But at the same time, that's how a lot of the games were back in the day because they were modeled after arcade games. So that's all you got. At the same time, Cuphead's hand-drawn animation, like you were talking about with Monster Boy, it's there's something to be said about the beauty of seeing hand-drawn animation. Which, I mean, I'm a Disney fanatic. I spent my honeymoon. Oh, sorry, not honeymoon. I did spend my honeymoon. I spent my anniversary this past weekend at Disney World for kind of a celebration and Christmas and everything.
And no one was surprised.
No one was surprised. I'm only like an hour and 45 minutes away. It's not too far.
How many times? What you guys should do one year is just, since you're living there now, you should like have just a little hash marks or something. Count how many times you go to Disney World.
I should have done that in 2018 because we were 20 minutes away from Magic Kingdom.
You have like a pass, right? Do you have to scan the pass?
You have a pass. So like
maybe there's like an account you can log into and you can find out.
I'll have to check. I don't think that there is, but I'll have to check because
I'm gonna put the over under at 25.
25? Oh, I think it's over.
Yeah.
So we were 20 minutes away, so we would have times where I would finish up work and be like, "Do you want to go?"
You want to go ride Mr. Toad's Wild Ride?
That's at Disneyland. I don't have it at Disney World. Yeah, people say that in the Matterhorn. It's like those aren't there. But like, I would be like, hey, do you just want to go grab something to eat on the way and then like watch the fireworks or something? Like, it's right over there. It's 20 minutes away. Parking is included because we had an annual pass. Yeah, the annual pass was kind of expensive, but if you're going that often, then it works out.
Well, and you almost feel obligated to. Like, sure. I need to go off that often to make sure I get my money.
Now that I'm like an hour and 45 minutes away, I'm like, now I do, because we just renewed. Because I knew that Whitney would like want to go. Like I would too. I don't know if it's not enough to pay for the annual, but also we did reserve our. I'll have to check and see what day it is, but we reserved a hotel stay next December. Because Galaxy's Edge opens up next December. Star Wars. The Star Wars...
Which means I'm not going to get to see it until probably 2020, maybe 2021.
2020 is going to be... 2020 will still be busy.
Yeah.
I mean...
Plus, we're going to have a 1.5-year-old at that point.
You are, but you know what? You can start those early memories of Star Wars and the wonder that is...
Or just be like, hey, grandparents, you want to watch your kid for a week? We'll be back.
Yeah, exactly. The hotel's not going to be open until like 2020. So I'm going to have to go again then. But the way that it works is if you have an annual pass, you can do fast passes and reserve your rides and your time slot 30 days in advance. But if you're staying on site, you can do it 60 days in advance. So we're basically going to book a hotel.
For tickets?
What's that?
Can you hook your friends up with cheaper tickets to get in?
No. Every now and then they have specials, but not usually. But
come on, guys! Like
if they're running a special,
10% off coupon or something.
I know if they're running a special, it's Disney. It's not gonna be 50% off.
I know.
I think it's like
no, it's 10.
Oh, 10. Okay, sorry. I was gonna say.
I was like, just save me tax.
10.
Like,
no, there was like a 10. There's like a 15 or 20% one that happened this summer. But I can't remember the stipulations on it and everything. But we're literally reserving a hotel so then we can go to Star Wars Galaxy Edge or like make sure we get those time slots in because like the Millennium Falcon ride in that. And I'm not trying to go like Disney on this podcast and everything, but like the Millennium Falcon ride on that thing is going to be amazing. It's going to have a huge line because there's only what is it? I think there's 6 people per cockpit. I think there's 6 cockpits, so 36 people can go at the same time. It's going to slow down. Like, it's going to be a long line. So, yeah. Anyways, as much as nerdy as that is, we do talk about video games on here. By the way, Kevin is playing Knights of the Old Republic for the first time.
What?
Yeah. He never played Knights of the Old Republic, and...
How is that possible?
I know, I don't understand. But here's the crazier thing about that is not only is he not... had he not played it, he texted me. He was like, hey, I'm about to play this for the first time. And I don't know, you know about Kevin's thing about trailers, right? He doesn't like watch trailers to movies and all that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like if it's a movie that interests him at all, or if it's a video game that interests him, he tries to go in blind. So like Dark Souls, Bloodborne, anything that's going on like that, like as soon as he is excited about it, he just goes radio silent on it. That game came out like was it 2000?
He doesn't know anything about Revan?
So he knows nothing about Revan. He texts
Oh, my
me. He
goodness.
texts me like 30 minutes in, and he's like, "I had no idea this took place before, like thousands of years before Yavin." And
It's called Knights of the Old Republic.
well, I don't know if he thought maybe that was in comparison to like the New Republic, because the New Republic is a thing in the books. After episode 6, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I
In the
don't
legend.
like. Maybe he thought, oh well, it's the Old Republic, like it's the Republic of the Jedi Council and everything. Like, so he had no idea. He also had no idea that it's basically a D20 style system on the back end, like that it shows your crits and everything. So he went in that blind. How do you do that?
I don't know.
Like.
I'm like sitting here to like, normally I don't like to react that way. Like, oh, pretty baby. Like, oh, wow.
Yeah, it's
Head pat. Like, that's crazy, me.
that's like running into someone who doesn't know that Darth Vader's Luke's father. I mean,
Yeah. What?
spoilers. No, that's there's a statute of limitations at some point. Revan,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that
For me, it's a year.
for a year. Okay, see, I go further than that, but I'm not going to spoil Revan for him. Like,
Except for Last of Us.
Last of Us is amazing.
Last of Us is still the only ending I refuse to talk about with people unless they play the game. But what the Revan story, you also would be a little mean to do. You don't really talk about it. It's just like it's freaking Revan.
Well, you said Revan. I knew exactly what you were talking about. You're talking about the reveal and the thing, which is ambiguous enough for us to talk about it in mixed company, and it wouldn't matter. And
Revan's a fantastic character.
it's a
great character.
Revan's a great character.
One of the best Star Wars characters.
Yeah, and that's why people want Knights of the Old Republic 3 really bad.
Still waiting.
We're still waiting. Like, I love Mass Effect, don't get me wrong, but
Anytime EA, you got that license, would be nice if you did something with it other than Battlefront 2.
it's all going to depend on Lucasfilm and what they want to do, because that's now under controls of Disney. So so we'll see what happens on that. But yeah, it's good stuff. But we wanted to also, as we're kind of rambling about other things, but we wanted to talk about 2018 and kind of do our own award show. We had an award show which was mostly commercials. We get it. It was mostly commercials and trailers of things that may be.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, as you know.
It was fun hanging out with you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was awesome. Like,
It's a little long in the tooth.
it was experiencing that. Like, I thought hanging out and talking about it was really great. I think that, like, for us, it's as close, other than E3, it's as close to a Super Bowl as we get. And E3 is just kind of a little bit extended, but I'll probably do the same thing for E3 this upcoming year if possible.
GD right?
Yeah, because it's gonna be. I like doing the reaction. I did it this past year, so doing it this year would be really good too.
I want to see what Microsoft and Nintendo do with an E3 without Sony present. I expect Microsoft to bring the guns.
No punches should be pulled at this point. I mean,
No.
seriously.
See it.
Seriously, the big dog. I mean, I'm not playing fanboy here, but the highest selling console, most exclusives, the best exclusives, and that's not even like an argument, because
It's not even close.
we're
For this shit.
I mean, you and I are huge Zelda fans, but but that was 2 years ago. And Smash is great, but that's Smash. I mean, let's be honest.
And Smash is great.
It is. It really is. I think this is going to be Xbox's year coming up. I hope that Nintendo really gets behind the Switch, because they've been selling really well. The Switch did outsell the Xbox One. It has outsold the Xbox One officially, which doesn't surprise me when it comes to the demographic that they're targeting, because
Surprises me a little bit.
and it didn't surprise me, because I think that there's enough people for the flexibility for having a console that is both handheld and a home console. I think that there's a lot of upsides to it, especially from a parent perspective. I have friends of mine who work for GameStop, and they were like, yeah, we had parents come in, didn't understand it. And when you pitched to them saying, hey, it's like your DS, it's like the 3DS and the Wii to combine, they're like, yeah, I don't have to buy two things. I buy one thing. So I think a lot of people like that. Then again, I do also know households that have two of them, because they're handhelds, so you kind of have it personalized. Oh yeah, it's just so pretty. It's so pretty. Where's mine? Oh, mine's in the other room. It's charging. I put it on the dock on the other dock. I don't have my. I usually have 2 docks set up. I don't have the one.
That's why I got a second USB-C charger.
You had to buy
Just a charger, not a dock.
The proprietary one, because
No, I just bought one off Amazon.
really because I've got a USB-C and it will not charge my Switch.
It's probably the brick you have then.
It could be the brick I have. Yeah.
If you don't have a brick supplying enough power.
That could just be what it
But
is.
I just found one on Amazon that said it was rated for the Switch.
That works.
It worked. It was $10.
I need to do that. I mean, I have a second dock because usually, like, I like to be able to capture stuff, and at the same time, I haven't used it a lot, but I want to be able to do it. So
They, I expect, 1, I think you're right, Xbox is here. 2, I expect a second iteration of the Switch. I don't know what they're going to do with it. I don't know if they're going to make the screen that much better or anything. I expect more onboard memory since it's only a 32 gig hard drive in there. But I expect some kind of not Switch 2, but like they did with the 3DS several times over, where we had the new Switch, the new 3DS, the 3DS XL, maybe a Switch XL of some sort.
sure.
Which honestly, I like the size. I don't know if I would like it to be much heavier, but I still expect there to be some kind of Switch upgrade without moving on from the generation. Because even if they're never going to catch up as far as graphics and stuff goes. What they could catch up with is still making sure frame rates on all these beautiful ports. It's a port machine. Like I said, hashtag put everything on Switch. Anything that can run on that thing, put it on there. It's going to be fun.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I think it'll be onboard memory will be better. I think you'll have marginal things that only geeks like us will care about, or maybe just me, where it's like the CPU is a little bit faster. The onboard memory is a little, not necessarily hard drive memory, but the RAM is a little better. So it runs a little smoother. It's going to be better for the developers. I think
there's some games like Dead Cells and other rogue type or generative. No, that's not the word I want. Generated, where things that are randomly generated, they tend to slug a little bit on the Switch. It's not a frame rate problem. It's just the fact that the computer is trying to think about the generation that it's doing, and so you'll see little bitty stutters here and there. Things like that I expect to improve.
No, I agree. Having played, like I talked about, I was playing Skyrim, and every now and then it chugs and it catches up, which is, to me, having played on like PCs that barely ran games, I'm like, it's fine. It works. Yeah. I haven't had game crashing bugs. I haven't had like all the things that people talk about Bethesda having problems with. Like, I haven't had any of those. So
yeah, you would hope so. Like 10 years after the game came out. But that's looking forward to the future. We need to wrap 2018 with this little pretty bow.
We do. And I will say we'll talk about our predictions next week. I think that'd be a good thing to talk about. So let's talk about 2018. And I thought, let's get the bad out of the way.
Sure.
Most regrettable purchase. And I think we both have stellar picks for this.
Yeah, mine was, and the only reason that it instantly sprang to mind was because of how excited I was for it, and then how much of a letdown it was. I literally played it for a day, and then never touched it ever again, and that would be Mario Tennis Aces.
Yeah. Yuck.
Not only did they mess up multiplayer in terms of the weird rule set that they introduced in the game, and I can't even remember what it is now because it was just it seemed like such an afterthought. But the one-player mode was not fun. I understand that it's a tennis game, so you're going to be playing tennis over and over again, but the difficulty was ramped up quickly. It does not really get you basics in on how to play and do what a Nintendo branded game generally does so well. It just wasn't fun, and I hope that if they do Mario Golf, that it doesn't face a similar fate as in a one day and done. And it also makes me upset that I paid $60.
Yeah, $60 because it's a Nintendo exclusive, so it's going to be $60. And they rarely go on sale. I know you're talking about Switch sales going on now, but like most of the big Nintendo titles don't usually go on sale.
Yeah.
Mario Golf, I have a soft place in my heart for Mario Golf 64.
Heck yeah!
So that's one of the coolest games to me. So I really hope that they don't completely fumble that.
Yeah.
Did they announce that?
No, they've never announced it. It's just they've done Mario Kart, they've done Mario Tennis. So somewhere in here, we got to get a golf.
Yeah, I think that.
And so maybe if not this year because of Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon, maybe 2020.
I mean, aside from Mario Kart, because out of any Mario side game, Mario Kart's the best, obviously. But Mario Golf's a special one for me. And mine also was a Nintendo purchase, Nintendo Labo. I purchased it. I mean, I purchased it because of the curiosity. I also purchased it thinking this will be funny to unbox, honestly. It'd be funny to see what this thing can actually do. I didn't have delusions of grandeur about what all the amazing things you could do with it, though I think it is really cool to use it in schools. But, man, that was a letdown when I realized just it wasn't even the price for the cardboard, but it was something I didn't think about until afterwards. There's no way to resell that copy. I mean, I put together the cardboard so I can try to sell the game and the cardboard on like probably Facebook Marketplace. But what's the point? I mean, you've already built the stuff. It's like, I don't know. I just felt like I usually have something in my collection I can continue to enjoy, but this is one time where it was like I can enjoy it once and then it's done, and now it just is in a box, and I just
really think the idea is that they can build upon it and something to do with the kiddos and stuff like you mentioned, the schools. I think it definitely has a target market, and as much as we want everything in Nintendo to target us, it did not.
It did not. And some games I don't want targeting us, like addictive games. I know we talk about that a lot on the show, but we're talking about addictive games not as in predatory practices, but gameplay addictive. And my pick for this, what was Spider-Man, because as soon as I picked it up, it was like, this is exactly what I've been waiting for in a Spider-Man game my entire life. I've been wanting to play as Spider-Man. Like everyone has their own hero that's kind of a special place for them. Spider-Man's my boy, next to Wolverine, I guess. But Wolverine, it's like you play as Wolverine. What are you going to do? You slice up people. Though there was a good one on it was PlayStation 2, I think, had a decent Wolverine game. But it was just the feeling of web slinging and hearing the quips out of Spider-Man was just so good. It made me feel like a kid again watching the animated series back in the 90s. Like, that's how it made me feel. Like, but with better graphics.
It felt so good.
Yeah. And
Spider-Man.
In your pick, I didn't get to play yet, but I do want to play.
Yeah, and I picked Call of Duty Black Ops 4, but specifically Blackout mode, because I don't, full disclosure, I don't touch any other mode in Call of Duty. I'm a Battle Royale liking person, even though I'm terrible at them. The thing about Blackout is just that you can instantly jump in and start having fun. You might lose, and probably will lose badly several times. There will be times where the kills are a little frustrating, and you're like, man, I swear I got that guy, but you keep wanting to jump in. The loot is randomly generated throughout the map. You can fly anywhere on the map. Very easy to jump in and out. Like, I want to play a match or two. That happened over Christmas. My in-laws and my wife took a drive, and I had gotten off work, and so there was like a little 30-minute lull where there was nothing to do, and I'm like, well, I can't play anything story related. Oh, I want to jump into some Blackout, and I'll play a match or two. It's something that is super fun with friends, so whenever you do get it, if you do get it, Patrick, get it on PS4 so we can run some duos. It is just such a good time. I really have enjoyed BRs for the past 2 years now. I've played 500 hours of PUBG. I played a little bit of Fortnite, which I don't enjoy as much just because I'm not good at the building aspect. And Call of Duty was like a smoother, quicker PUBG, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. And I've played Fortnite. I played some PUBG like a long time ago, played Fortnite, and this seemed like a better Fortnite to me. Something that's more up my alley when it comes to Fortnite. Like we said, not every game has to appeal to us, but I don't care about I don't care about taunts and building in a game when I'm being shot at. Like I want to defend myself. I want to, find the best loot and find a strategic place to attack. So the Fortnite, like, it's like, oh, I got this emote. I'm like, I don't have time to dance. I'm busy. So yeah, I know.
Sound like such an old man.
I'm such an old man, right?
I don't have time to dance.
I'm trying to like, hold on, let me build some stairs. If you've ever played Fortnite, if you're around our age and you've ever played Fortnite and you have these like 10-year-olds building walls around you, and the quickness. I mean, part of it's because
toy with you.
What?
They just toy with you.
They really do. I mean, like, it's the first time in my life in gaming where I felt like I was not able to keep up. But at the same time,
you're there in your forts and your walls. You're building your little ramps.
Basically, I couldn't keep up. But you know what? It's still fun, and it's fun to play. But that's not a 2018 game, so we'll have to move on to our best narrative. And I think again, 2018 was a really good year. We didn't have picks here that I don't disagree. Like, if any of your picks, by the way. But Owen, you picked Red Dead Redemption 2.
Absolutely. It's really hard to go too much into the story because it's a thing that everybody that it's a long game, first of all. So whenever you get into it, it's something that you need to be prepared that if you want to experience the story, you're going to put 50, 60, 70 hours into it like I did. For some people, that's awesome. You're definitely getting your money's worth. For some people, they just, I quote unquote don't have the time, and that's perfectly okay. But Arthur Morgan is probably one of the coolest protagonists I've ever seen in terms of he starts one way in the game, and he starts as a kind of storyless, not thug. Thug's not the right word, but he's a thief. He's an outlaw, and his growth throughout the game and him changing as he's realizing kind of his place in the dying West and how he is of a breed that will no longer exist in the near future. To experience that over the course of the game, the cast that they put around Arthur, those characters, Dutch, for those of you who played the first Red Dead Redemption, and how you really see what Dutch was before he got to what he was in Red Dead Redemption. Such a good story. There's a lot of, we talked at length about some of my issues with Red Dead, but the thing that it did not have an issue with was the narrative and how it built. It was a fantastic playthrough. I definitely recommend it to anybody who has the time to play such a lengthy experience. And plus, it's just gorgeous, and there's so much stuff to do. There's so many little Easter eggs in there. You could play the game for a lot longer than I did.
You played it was 3.5 weeks, 3 weeks.
I played it over the course of like 3 weeks.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you you tend to do this with games. Everyone kind of has their own thing. You and Tanner does this even more than you do, by the way. Mm-hmm. But it's just like you kind of go all in on a game, and then that's what you play. Tanner does I don't know how, I don't know if he's doing marathon sessions or how he does it, but he beats games really quick. I play a little bit here, play a little bit there, because I've usually got multiple games going on. But Red Dead is just gorgeous, and it's not a bad pick. My pick was God of War, because yes, I mean, which the memes alone are great for that. But I picked God of War because I agree with you on Red Dead Redemption. It's an amazing story. God of War hooked me in. I mean, I was already invested, but in the first 5 minutes of the game, and the opening of how they introduce you to Kratos, how they reintroducing you to a character you're supposed to know, and immediately I'm like, I know nothing about this person, and what he's gone through, however long it's been since we've last seen him. If that was, I mean, there's the whole it's a sequel, but it's not kind of feel. But playing through the game, and then I think it's 10 minutes in when you have a surprise visit, or I just don't want to spoil anything, but it hooked me, and it felt like it was a combination action, thriller, suspense like game, and not a way trying to scare me, but like a page turner of a novel. Like I just kept wanting to figure out what was going on, and that was really interesting to me because not most games don't do that in regards to kind of slowly unfolding. Last of Us is one of those. We talked about you mentioned Last of Us, which I would agree, but it just hooked me, and it was enthralling, even as a character who should be immortal. Not quite showing that vulnerability was really cool. Yeah,
there's so many times throughout that game where you can literally just put your controller down and just kind of watch the cutscene.
Yeah.
Like that's how good of a cutscene it was. You're not itching to move on. You want to experience that relationship between father and son, and then in Kratos in this world that we haven't seen him in before. Yeah. A great pick.
Yeah. Thank you. We're on to best score and music of a game. I also, I could put sound design in here as well, but score, I think, alone needs its own category. And you picked?
I picked Celeste, baby.
Who would have guessed?
There's a lot of things I want to pick Celeste for. I think there's another category that we didn't add in here. If there was best indie in this list, it would be Celeste as well. Where the music, though, is so good. Mm-hmm. Like, you think of some of the other bigger games that came out, and they have some great orchestral score, and props to them. But whenever you're looking at Celeste, you're talking about somewhere between 8 and 16-bit game, and it has that 8 to 16-bit music feel. The fact that the composer that she got to play that live at the Game Awards earlier this month, and hearing it again, it flows so well with the levels. The levels are so well paced, and then it's a music thing where all the highs and all the lows that you're supposed to have where this story, and again, it's a platformer, so the story is kind of light, but the music makes up for that, where it's up, it's down, where you are in your story and how your character is supposed to be feeling is expressed in that score, and I think that's what makes it so good for me. I loved it. It is one of the best parts about the game, aside from, of course, the amazing platforming.
Yeah. And to me, that's how I felt with Red Dead. I hadn't played Celeste, honestly. I loved the music that I've heard of it, though. But Red Dead did something that few games do in regards to atmosphere. It's not just about like, oh, look, it's a tune, it's a pretty tune. It's like the whole atmosphere of that game just kind of was breathing life into it. Similar to Dexter, if you watched Dexter on Showtime, like the music in that's barely there, but the music in that it builds so much emotion and atmosphere. Like, there's a lot of times where you're just enthralled with the game, or in Dexter's case, the show, and you barely realize like the very little bit of music that's in there. And one guy did the music to all of Dexter, by the way. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
the cool part that not just complete score and everything, but there was lots of places where the score was excellent in the game. But there was the thing that you mentioned about atmosphere, where there were times during the game where it's like dead silent. The only thing that you're hearing is you and your horse riding along, and then all of a sudden just the music just kind of starts, and you didn't realize how quiet it was until the music came in. That's another thing where you could, if you were going to say anything about including sound design in there, some of the best design in terms of how they incorporated their music into the game.
Yeah, amazing. That's what AAA, triple games are all about.
What you want.
That's what I want in a AAA game. I don't need that many animations for skinning deer, but it's okay. It does all right. Moving on to best performance by an actor or actress. Video games have come so far now that we're not just pigeonholed to like, oh, they're a voice actor, like, and they did like 5 lines. Like, there's so much involved in it. We didn't have a Naughty Dog game because if we had one this year, if we had an any year, I just like it automatically will go there. But
yeah, where's Neil Druckmann?
But in this case, so I picked, and I'm probably going to butcher this, Milisanthi Mahut from Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Cassandra, man.
Yep. I mean, I'm not gonna say she's as good as Fem Shep. I'm not going that far, but like I would say, I thought her acting was better than the male version. If you picked the male version, I also thought she gave a lot of heart into the character, who is written in a very interesting way, where she's not making it all about like the fact that she's a woman, but at the same time she is a standout in the society. And I thought she did a really good job portraying that. Not only that, just the overall voice acting and everything. Both, interestingly enough, in a year talking about like all the motion capture that like games do, we both picked voice actors though. Or at least people who just did voices. Your pick was from Spider-Man.
Yuri see, I even messed up. And he has an easier name, Lowenthal. Yuri Lowenthal. Yeah. I mentioned some other characters already. We talked about Kratos. We talked about Arthur, and you've talked about Cassandra. But whenever it came to Spider-Man, one of the things that you worry about in a game like Spider-Man with such a high-profile character is who is playing Spider-Man. And we have a lot of history there. We've had 3 people play him on screen now. We have the '90s animated guy whose name I can't remember right now. I feel better about that. So you were so worried about that, and then you start playing Spider-Man, and you already know he's supposed to be an experienced Spider-Man. He's already become his own after the 8 years, and Yuri just picks up as Peter Parker. You feel the jokes, you feel the quips that you're expecting Spider-Man to have. He also had a great range where the Spider-Man that I know well also experiences the doubts and stuff with his character. Some issues that I had with the Amazing Spider-Man movies was where you didn't see that lack of confidence in the Peter Parker. And here you got all of it. You got confident Spider-Man. You got unconfident Peter Parker. He played it so well. And again, one of those things where it really made you enjoy experiencing those cutscenes and enjoy that dialogue that he creates with every single character that he interacts with.
Yeah. You're talking about the animated series. I have to fill you in on this if you didn't know. Christopher Daniel Barnes, who was in the animated series. So you may or may not know he was Prince Eric from what's wrong with me? From Little Mermaid.
Okay.
So he was in. Sorry, what was it? Not the original. He's played Prince Eric like forever. But the thing that Whitney always knows him from, because we like, it's one of the only times that I did have almost a fanboy moment at a convention when I saw a celebrity. I've not had a problem with anybody else, but I got a little emotional because of the Spider-Man thing, not because of this. But Whitney always remembers him because he was Greg Brady in the Very Brady movie. The 90s Brady Bunch movie. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember.
The guy, who played the guitar, like, and tried to do the talent show.
I'll always remember that one scene where they're in the car where it's like, it's a carjacking. And he's like, this is my car, but my name's not Jack.
My name's not Jack.
Yeah.
Like it's so like it's hilarious. Like, so that's Spider-Man, by the way.
Wow.
So I don't think he was the original Prince Eric. I'll have to double check, but I know he's done Prince Eric and like tons of other stuff for Disney like forever. But either way, Greg Brady to my wife. Every time she sees him, she starts singing, "Clowns never laughed before, beanstalks never grew." It's just horrible. Oh man. But on to things that aren't horrible. Best multiplayer experience. Sorry, this does not go to Fortnite. Fortnite was not a 2018 game, it's 2017.
I almost put it there. Even though I don't really play it, it's still undeniable.
It is as a multiplayer game, not an MMO, because MMOs do extend those lengths, right? But as a non-MMO, Fortnite has been going on stronger than any that I can think of.
It's the biggest story of the year.
Yeah, I mean,
undeniably.
Yeah, I agree. As much as I rag on Fortnite, like, yeah, they're doing great from a business standpoint and from a support standpoint in what they're doing for the game. But since their 2017 game, it's not in this category. We are going with Call of Duty. Sorry, I spoiled it for Owen. Owen picked Call of Duty Black Ops.
So I already spoke to this in terms of the addicting gameplay, so I'm not going to harp too much more on it. But again, the thing about BRs is as much fun as they can be solo. Some people really do enjoy that solo experience. The most fun that I have during a BR is playing with friends, whether it be duos or whether it be squads, just roaming around from game to game. Having each other's back, getting that chance to pick up, talking strategy while you're playing, like guys in the window, 45 degrees north, south, whatever. It's super fun. Yep. It really puts you into that experience. I would have picked your pick if it wasn't for how bad the online is and how little I've actually got to play with people.
Yeah,
but I completely agree with your pick.
I did get to play this couch co-op. Enjoyed it. Smash. I purchased Smash specifically because I'm like, you know what? I want that in my collection. Same reason I bought the Jackbox games. It's like if anyone's over who likes Smash, that's a real easy one to grab. And it is, to me, I think it's the quintessential Smash. Like everyone talks about what's the best Smash Brothers. To me, this one like wrapped up every single Smash Brothers, everything I wanted in Smash, and more. And it delivered it in such a great package that I had to pick it.
I'm having some people over on Saturday. I'm going to have my first like 6 or 7 or 8 people bring in their Switch controllers. So after that, you might be able to get me to change my mind. But Smash Ultimate really is a lot of fun to play with people. Yeah. Once they figure out their online matchmaking, I'm sure it'll be great if they ever figure it out. But from a couch perspective, there is no better game to have tons of people in the same living room going at it with all these famous characters. I think there's 75 like right now.
Yeah, there's more. Like we're getting Joker and some others. Like I don't even know who that is. Like I know who it is, but I don't know him.
Yeah.
Right. That he popped on screen, and I'm like, oh, that's the Persona. Is he from
that Persona guy?
Yeah, basically. But
JRPGs over there.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know what it was, but I'm like, okay, he's cool. And to me, with Smash, it's like I want to have every character because someone's gonna come over and they're gonna be that person who's like, oh, I like this character.
Oh, you don't have my main?
Yeah, you don't have my main. What's wrong with you? I'm like, because I didn't want to spend that extra money. But at the same time, I like exploring all the different. I mean, I grew up playing like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter 2, so those kind of games, like I like exploring the different movesets and everything. It's really fun. And speaking of Mortal Kombat, and not really, there's no segue in this. I want Mortal Kombat on my Switch.
Speaking of Smash.
Yeah, speaking of Smash, the easy segue that Patrick completely missed. Yeah.
It's okay, I got you, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. It's a good save. That's a what do they call that in basketball? It's not a layup.
Assist.
Yeah, one of those. I'm not a sports guy.
Rebound.
Yeah. I didn't know. Is it, what do they call it when alley-oop? That's what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, but yeah, assist. That's a general term for it. I was just trying to go stupid on it. So best exclusive for Smash. Sorry, for Switch, which. I'm sorry, my pick was Smash as well as yours. I just wanted to highlight another one, but Smash, I mean, we've been talking about it quite a bit anyways, so we won't kind of meander around that, but it's the best exclusive on Switch. Yes, there weren't a lot of exclusives on Switch, but it was the best standout. I think there were 19 or 20 this year.
Yeah. They still had a solid lineup. It's just after a year of getting Zelda and Mario Odyssey and to a lesser extent, but still great game, Mario Rabbids Kingdom.
Mm-hmm. And Mario.
It was hard.
And
Mario Kart. Like, it was hard to live up to.
What
but
else do
Smash
I need?
is so much fun. There are some definitely. I mentioned there's some frustrating things about it. Their online matchmaking is not great right now. World of Light was way more fun than I thought it was going to be. If you haven't checked that out, you totally should. Mm-hmm. Just from a perspective of see what they did with the spirits and how they built those into the 75 Smash characters, where there's different games that you go through. I won't spoil all of them, but for example, there's a Street Fighter one, and you go through this Street Fighter section where you're fighting Street Fighter spirits, and like for example, Blanca is Donkey Kong, and it's a green Donkey Kong. There's little things like that. Ganondorf is M. Bison. Little things like that where they did with that mode. It's entirely too long. They made it probably like 5 or 10 hours way too long.
Wow.
but just the care and effort that they put into giving you a single player experience where like you could go through that for hours, and if you don't like to play with other people, or maybe you don't have as many friends, or you don't want to play online, you still get a lot of fun out of experiencing that mode. It's such a good time on Switch, and like you mentioned, it's one of those things that you should just buy. So if you have a Switch, you should have it.
I completely agree. Mario Kart and Smash, it's like you have to have those on your console. There's no reason not to have those. Nintendo is a console for groups, for couch co-op. Online, sure, whatever, but like to me, it's about that community and being able to play games with friends at the drop of a hat, and games that don't require like a huge learning curve. Which is why I picked. I know this is a quasi. I don't know if this qualifies, but Hyrule Warriors I wanted to highlight here. I really like.
Is that 2018? The definitive?
The definitive edition came out in 2018.
Okay. I have it on Wii U.
It came out on Wii U. That's why I'm like, I can't really officially say it, but I wanted to give it a little spotlight here. I didn't pick it up on Wii U. I thought that I should have. It was one of those things like maybe I really should be playing that. And then it came out when the Switch came out. I was like, I'm going to get it on Switch, and it's wonderful. It's exactly what I wanted out of it. I'm still trying to get Whitney to play it because I think that may be the game that maybe wins her over when it comes to Zelda, because I still haven't. She doesn't like it hasn't clicked for her. I don't understand. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
For those of you that are listening on the podcast version, I'm just shaking my head.
Yeah, it just hasn't clicked for her. Like, she gets it. She's like, oh, I understand. Like, but like, I was like, we're hanging out because we do cosplay and we do like some community stuff. And I was talking to someone there, and like, I'm dressing up as Link for exactly. Mine's off in the corner. Otherwise, I need to just hang it up whenever I'm not using it. But I was dressed up as Link. Yep, you got Toon Link back there too. I was dressed up as Link, and this, we're doing a charity thing, and this other costumer comes up to me and just goes on about how much she loves Zelda, and we're having, where you talk about, little things like, experiences that you have in the game. What's your favorite game? And we got into a lengthy discussion on who we shipped in Ocarina of Time, who we shipped Link with.
Rudo, baby.
Oh, really? See, there's
no question.
Everyone has their pick. Like, everyone has their pick, and it's usually, it's this person, like, hands down. So mine's Malon, but like, it's like everyone kind of has, because it's either Saria, Malon, or Rudo, and I mean,
she don't ship them with Zelda. Like, they just have like a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, I did.
Even though they tried to ship them in Breath of the Wild.
They tried to ship them in Breath of the Wild, but to me, I didn't view it as opposed to like Mario, where it's like, oh, he's saving the princess in the quintessential masculine way of I save a damsel in distress and I get kissed. I always viewed Zelda as like, Link was just doing it because that's what he's supposed to do. He's the hero, and this is you help people in need, and that was all that mattered.
The hero of time, baby.
Yeah, and he didn't have to hook up with Zelda. Like, she's cool, but that's not what it's about. Anyways, we'll talk about non-Zelda stuff now. We could just keep talking about Zelda for hours.
Good.
Best PlayStation exclusive, and we both picked the same thing again, which is
Spider-Man.
It's Spider-Man. I mean, I loved God of War. I absolutely loved God of War. But Spider-Man, hands down, was just an amazing, not only an amazing game to play and everything, but from a business standpoint. It's like, I'm playing Spider-Man. You've got new Spider-Man, the Spider-Man Homecoming coming out. You have the new Spider-Man Far From Home. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse just came out. You want to play a Spider-Man game, you're going to have a PlayStation. Otherwise,
and what's even more fun about it for me, there's obviously some bias there with Insomniac, but the fact that the best PlayStation exclusive was not made by a Sony-owned studio. It is a Sony-owned IP, but it's not a Sony-owned studio. But they work together, just showing Sony's range and the fact that they could have easily had. Now I'm going to blank on Infamous's developer.
I'm blanking on it too.
I know it so well too because I've been waiting for a new game from Sucker Punch.
Yeah,
they could have easily given Spider-Man to Sucker Punch because of Infamous. It makes sense. They know how to make a superhero game. But no, they were like, hey, Insomniac, you guys make awesome things. Yeah. Make this game for us.
And
it was
and the storyline in it as well, and being able to play with characters that are beloved characters in a series, being able to play with those in a unique fashion while staying true to their heart was a great example as well. Did you see, I can't remember if you said, did you see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, that's right, you did see it. Similarly in that, I won't spoil that or anything, but
that was so great.
By the way, that Christmas album exists.
Everybody should go see Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes, everyone should. Did you know?
You should see it in a theater while you can. It's such a great experience.
It is. The animation, everything about it. But did you know that the Christmas album exists?
No.
Yeah. There's only like 6 songs.
I'd still buy it just to do it.
I think it's on iTunes, but I just listened to it, and it's there's I think there's 3 of them that are worth it in my opinion. The rest are okay, but the fact that they recorded it is great. But with that movie took license with some, because the multiverse, they took license with some of the stories, and I thought that was really cool to take a twist on the lore of these characters. Is really cool, which I'll talk about more later on. But let's go on to Xbox, which you said you didn't really play any Xbox games. You made a pick, a valiant pick. No exclusives. Did you?
I did not. I didn't turn on my. The wife played Xbox a little early in the year, but with no Gears of War and no Halo, Owen did not turn the Xbox One on one time.
I actually had to double check because I was like, did a Gears of War game come out? Because I remember.
Came out last year.
Yeah, it was 2016, I think. The end of
2016. That hurts even worse.
Yeah. So
I did pick Forza just because it was in the top 5 games rated on OpenCritic. So to me, that's undeniable. It's kind of a cop out because I have no experience. But good job, Forza. Way to go, Xbox. You made a game. There's my camera.
There's your camera. I was gonna say it didn't look like you were doing a thumbs up there for a second.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's a good pick. It's a solid game. From what I played of it, it's a solid game. It's beautiful. It's what you want with Forza. I mean, you want amazing realism and amazing graphics. That's what you get. And I picked Cuphead because, yes, there aren't a lot of Xbox games, exclusives that came out, I should say. Cuphead was exactly what I wanted. Even when I was frustrated at the game, the hand-drawn animation is just gorgeous. It's difficult. I can't remember if I told you. Did I tell you I bought that for Whitney to play? Because
it's a terrible idea.
I know. I didn't know it was difficult. I just saw not
to say that she can't do difficult games, but that kind of game doesn't seem like her
style. That is
style.
not her thing. Like, I've been trying to get her to play Dark Souls or anything like that. She will not do it. But I was like, oh, it's this hand-drawn animation. I showed her the trailer, which was just like it showed some bosses and some shooting and stuff, and she was like, oh, this looks really cool. So I bought it and downloaded it, and I think it took her 7 or 8 minutes, and she was like, nope, I'm done. I apologized profusely. I'm like, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. Because I drummed it up for her. I was like, you're going to like this so much. It was her second biggest letdown next to Final Fantasy 15.
I platinumed that game.
Yeah, the only reason was because I had drummed it up for years. I was like, it's the Kingdom Hearts series, the Kingdom Hearts game creators making a Final Fantasy game, and she's like, oh, maybe I'll finally like a Final Fantasy. She doesn't like timed strategy. I know. Like,
sorry.
if it's got action, like she's like,
it doesn't have active time battle in it, I don't play it.
Yeah, she doesn't like that. So I'm like, that's fine. I get it. Where I get it in a way I don't understand that she doesn't like Zelda, or she hasn't clicked with Zelda yet. That's how I keep phrasing it. It's not that she doesn't like it. But she doesn't. I am, but she doesn't like that type of gameplay. So I was like, finally, you're gonna have a Final Fantasy game that's gonna be for you. It's gonna be great. And she was just bored. I liked it, but she was bored. It wasn't enough for her. At the same time, like God of War, I absolutely loved them. She's beaten every God of War game except for the newest one. I mean,
I see that.
Yeah, she
little hack, little slash.
She loves it. She just wants to beat people up and stuff. It's fun.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. But yeah, I'd say Cuphead was my pick. There were some decent games that came out, but not a lot of exclusives for Xbox. So we'll give them some time. They'll get there. PlayStation Plus. So out of these games, I like that you pick your pick, by the way, on this. Did you play Bloodborne?
For like a minute.
Okay. Like,
honestly, I picked this game because I picked Bloodborne for best PlayStation Plus exclusive because one, full disclosure, Souls types games are not for me. I don't like them because I will break the controller at some point. I plan to play Bloodborne because I've heard it's a little bit more approachable, albeit still difficult. But from what I know, from what everybody's told me, the world is so cool. It's a little slightly more approachable. But the fact that Sony gave you one of the best games, arguably, in their library and gave that to us as a PlayStation Plus free game, it was awesome for somebody like me, especially that doesn't like them. It's like, cool, I pay for this service. You gave me one of your best games. Bam.
Yeah.
Good. Some others, another notable on there was Ratchet and Clank, which was also excellent, but I paid for that game already, so that's why I didn't pick it.
Yeah. I mean, there were other picks on here that I could have picked, like Destiny 2 was a great value. If you look at it that way, the God of War collection was a great value. And again, it's something, it may not be the best game, but it's definitely worth your value. To me, I'd probably pick Bloodborne as well, but I wanted to give like a special mention to Batman the Telltale series, because I love the Telltale games. I love a narrative. These are games that I can play and I don't feel bad if I'm playing and the wife is watching, like, because she's getting a lot out of it. Or I don't even mind handing her the controller. I'm like, honey, you just play it. I will go along for the ride.
I need to go get a glass of wine.
Yeah,
you
exactly. I'm gonna
finish this cutscene up.
Exactly. I'm just gonna sit here. I'm gonna hang out, and we're just gonna enjoy this together. She does like get to the point where she's like, I don't know what to pick. What would you pick? And then you can have a discussion. But I loved how
we do something similar.
What's that?
We do something similar. We play with the Life is Strange. She didn't play the Batman ones with me because she doesn't care about Batman, but she has played other Telltale games with me. Where I think her favorite one was probably Borderlands in terms of the Telltale series.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like Batman. Whitney's burned out on Batman, but to me, but I feel like
that was another reason Spider-Man was so good.
Yeah,
is just to have the other super major famous character get a game after like 5 Batman things.
I'm still waiting for that Superman game. You know they're working on it.
Someday.
I mean, I hope it'll come out at one point. But
Telltale Batman, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Was it the first one that they gave you, or the second one?
I can't remember. I thought it was the first one.
I think it's the first one because they gave it to you in the month that the second one came out.
Yeah.
The second one, also very enjoyable.
Exactly. I'll have to check and see if I know I played the first one. I can't remember if I played. I think I may have started the second one. I'll have to check. But now that Telltale's gone, I want to play all the Telltale games because now I feel bad. This is all that we get. But oh well. On to free games of the worst.
That's not all we get. We finished Walking Dead, the real game we need to finish.
That's true.
Next month.
So happy. I'm so happy that they're finishing that. It's just sad because I liked these games so much. Like, I loved Wolf Among Us, and it was great, and I want more of that. I wanted more of the Game of Thrones one. I'm in the minority on that, but I like it.
That you are.
Let's go on to best free games with gold. We just talked about PlayStation Plus, but games with gold. Owen does not has one. I don't even have gold subscription. So I have the gold subscription partially because I want the free games. It's a good value.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Absolutely.
There were a lot of games on here that I could have picked, but to me, because I think this has been free on everything at this point now. But Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain was one of the best games I've played from a overall narrative perspective, from a gameplay perspective, where you have something this robust and open world with a story that's not spoon-fed to you, that just keeps you guessing and keeps you speculating even after the game's over. You're still trying to figure out who people are and what people are. Watching YouTube videos of people trying to explain who the Burning Man is and who these other people are is just really interesting to me. It does not talk down to the player, which is why I can't wait for Death Stranding. whenever that comes out.
Yeah.
But that was my pick for it. I know this did come out on other ones as well, but it was just an amazing game, and you had to pick it. So we're on to the game of the year, which
Woo!
I think there are, again, a lot of really good games that came out this year. And your pick was...
I picked Spider-Man.
Surprise.
Spider-Man. I had some shout outs because I wanted to mention how hard this was for me to choose. Celeste and Red Dead both took quite a bit of my time as well this year. Red Dead had an excellent narrative. Celeste, literally, not joking here at all, is the best platforming experience I've ever had in a video game ever.
Yeah.
We're talking putting it against like the Marios and everything. Celeste was, for me, that level. But Spider-Man was a game that, one, I'd looked forward to. It was my most anticipated game for the last year. Everybody knows that. Anybody who knows me knows how much I talked about this game and was ready for this game to come out. And the best part was that it lived up to the hype.
Really
the gameplay is so much fun. Swinging around as Spider-Man, I'm not saying the game is absolutely perfect. None of these games are. There are minor issues that I had with some of the music being repetitive and so on, but the fact that every single time you boot it up, you start swinging around New York City, you feel like freaking Spider-Man, and the fact that they paired that with a good narrative and a great actor that played Peter Parker, Spider-Man, the fact that the story had some weight to it, it did not end exactly how you thought it would be. If you were making like some predictions and so on, that you might have been able to figure out where it was going to go, but you didn't think it was going to do what it was going to do. It made you want to complete the whole game. It did not. I'm not a fan of the games that like have terrible trophy lists. I judge trophy lists every time I see them. I'm like, would I ever? And I'm not a big platinum person or a big trophy hunting person, but I look at the trophy list whenever I get a game, and I'm like, would I go through that? And the majority of the time, the answer is no. Spider-Man wants you to experience everything in the game, all the little Easter eggs and everything that they put in the game. They don't make it overly difficult for you to experience all these things that they took the time to put in the game. So much fun. I completely destroyed it. I played it for a week straight, several hours a day for a week straight, several hours into the night. Platinumed it, everything. I cannot say enough about how fun Spider-Man is. If you like superheroes at all and you have not played this game, I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah, I second everything about that. It's probably my pick as well. Honorable mention to me is going to go to God of War for obvious reasons that I've already mentioned, and also Far Cry 5, which we haven't talked about like the entire time. I really liked Far Cry 5. I liked the characters. Some people were talking about like they didn't like the politicizing, blah blah blah. Like, to me, it was not a political statement about a specific. To me, if I was like, if you're targeting it because of religion or because of guns, like you've lost the point. You lost the point of a cult, of an extreme view. Anything in the extreme is bad. Anything in the extreme, and that was a great example of that. You're taking what should be wholesome and should be the American values and just making it the worst thing on the planet. That's what I thought was unique about it. I loved the gameplay. I really like Far Cry games, but the gameplay, the everything from the hunting, the vehicles were amazing in it, which is why I can't wait for the new Far Cry standalone DLC that's coming out. Because I was like, they're going to do Fallout better than Fallout. I can't wait. It's very Mad Max, but
I don't know if I'm going to go that.
I don't know, not really, but like not better than Fallout 4 or Fallout New Vegas or anything. But the guns and the vehicles and gunplay and all of that mixed together. To me, as soon as I saw that trailer, I was like, this is a brilliant like addition, because usually if you have a game that's not a driving game, the driving sucks. And like Grand Theft Auto, even Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City, like it was like, it was okay. 4 was horrible. San Andreas was okay, but like, anyway, so I'll go on. Usually they're not great at driving. This one had decent driving and decent gunplay. So I had to give it props for that.
Mm-hmm.
That was good stuff. So
yeah, and I left out God of War. It didn't speak to me as much as other people, but there's nothing deniable about how beautiful of a game it was, how much you went from, I didn't care for the original God of Wars. I think they're fun, but I didn't even play 3. And then you come back and you not completely, but I want to say more than you didn't. You changed Kratos into a character and you gave him depth. You can't deny what they were able to do with that, and especially from a studio that I love in Sony Santa Monica, and a studio that I was afraid was going to shutter its doors.
Yeah.
And now is obviously not. After such a big success, they better not be going anywhere. I love that they had redemption with that IP. It didn't fall as highly as the other 3 that I mentioned on the list for me, but it's definitely good that you call that out.
No, I think it was great, and I think they did. As they mentioned, like in the Game Awards, they were like, Sony took a chance on this and really gambled in a way that did not work out for Devil May Cry. I mean, reinventing a character, and it did not work out at all. So
DMC is terrible.
It is terrible.
I hope Devil May Cry 5 is fun, but DMC was awful.
I did run into something recent, like where they were talking about what they modeled him after. I don't know if you heard about this, but like they were basically like, we need to take Dante from Devil May Cry and make him more Western and make him more appealing to the Western audiences and what is cool to Western audiences. And their archetype for what is cool for Western audiences was Tyler Durden.
Okay.
Tyler Durden. They were like, and I was like, the crazy anarchist. I mean, I get it's Brad Pitt.
Maybe 15 years ago.
I mean, I get it's Brad Pitt, but like when I think of like who's the coolest, like sexiest American kind of like view, like I don't think I'd pick.
Everybody loved Fight Club, but he's a terrible character to make a video game.
Yeah, he's a terrible character. It's not the epitome of cool. He's like he's dirty. Yeah, it's Brad Pitt, so of course he looks good, but like he's a dirty, horrible person. Like, why would you? Yeah, I don't. It's just crazy.
Is that what a man looks like? It's my favorite line from that movie.
It's a great movie. But we're going to talk about 2019 as much as I want to talk about like what I'm expecting and some predictions. I think we're going to save that for next week. We're going to talk about what we look forward to as well as some predictions of the year. Owen kind of gave one already, but a couple. But we'll kind of finalize that and talk about that next week. But let us
put together a list of some games that we're looking forward to.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get that all together, and we will talk about that next time. So let us know in the comments what your favorite game of 2018 was, and if you liked our picks or if you disagree with them, let us know in the comments because we want to hear that you hate us. And we'll talk to you later.
I want to hear how pretty I am. I don't agree with that statement at all. You can tell me. You can say you hate Patrick, but I'm pretty. That's all I want to hear.
Much prettier than me.
Thanks for watching This Week in Our Collective Heads. Subscribe over here and click the bell, and that way you'll know about any new videos that we put up, because we put up a lot of gameplay, a lot of stories from games and stuff like that, and gameplay is down here.
Yeah, and you got more editorials and news stuff down here. Check it out.